get this going. It's the third. This is maintenance and development. I'm the chair, Councilor Brown. We're here with Eversource and preservation and a few other constituents. If you guys wouldn't mind, just for the record, to introduce you guys yourself, please. Starting with John, I see.
Yes. Okay. So I apologize that they were talking about the constituents. Yeah. So John Caldwell, I'm a manager of community relations here at Eversource. Really appreciate the invite and looking forward to the conversation here. And we've got a few people on the line here from Eversource. You already met Leslie, who is our specialist in Springfield. But I guess to kind of keep it moving here, I can kick it over to Jason. Are you on the call here?
Yes, I'm on the call, and I'm representing the electric smart meter program.
Fantastic. Thank you. And additionally, I believe, who else do we have here from on the Eversource side? I'm just sorry, we're a Teams company, so I'm moving around in the attendees here. Chris Kellogg.
Yes, Chris Kellogg. Chris Kellogg, manager of meter operations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
And do we have anyone else from Eversource here? Perfect.
Okay.
So that rounds us out. Thank you.
And I see Sean. Okay.
So
and
I'll introduce this trust since it looks like Sean's unmuting. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sean.
You can go.
Okay, I'm Erica Swallow, president of the Springfield Preservation Trust. We also have James Sean Johnson, the executive vice president of the trust, and Kira Holmes, community engagement and advocacy coordinator from the trust.
Okay, and I see we have is there an Andrew?
Yep. So this is Andrew Shursty. I'm with the Office of Planning and Economic Development. I'm the staff liaison to the Historic Commission.
Thank you. And Betsy?
Betsy Johnson, Mattoon Street resident, and president of the Metro Center Association, where the discussion of meters, electric and gas, have been a ongoing issue on our street.
Okay, and I see Christopher.
Yeah, this is Christopher Kellogg, meter operations manager.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And anyone I miss? I see John. I think I might have.
I just came on, Councilor Brown. This is Councilor Govan.
And of course, Councilor Govan. I see Councilor Govan, and I see Tim Sheehan. So basically, we're meeting today to discuss some of the placements and making sure, as far as the different procedures when it comes to putting some of these new meters in historic areas, that they're going through the right process and they're placing them the right way. I know it's something that's rolling out new, so I do know that we've had a few concerns as a city, and I know the preservation, they do a great job. So I wanted to make sure that we can get together and come up with a plan on how to do it properly without any any backlash from any of the consumers out there. So I'll yield the floor to the preservation right now to kind of like go over whatever issues and concerns you guys want to address. So I'll yield it to you guys.
Great, thank you so much. I'll be brief, but I think we all have probably heard of this, and I've spoken with Andrew Sternesty who's here, Springfield Historical Commission, and saying that they've started to find some best practices, but we just want to make sure that those are communicated out to consumers, because as a nonprofit in Springfield who deals with historic preservation, we've been getting a lot of emails in from different historic districts with photos of buildings that are getting their meters placed on the front of buildings. And my own neighborhood on Piney Woods is a building that had missed the best practice processes, and Andrew explained how that one was sort of like the early pre-Andrew period of time, basically, and didn't have best practice in place. But as late as last week, an apartment building in McKnight had some meters placed on the front of the building, and that came in. A couple other residences in McKnight have recently had meters put on fronts, very highly visible places. And I didn't actually know much about Mattoon Street having this issue, so it's nice to see Betsy here. But it sounds if they're trying to also put any type of meter on the front of a building in Mattoon Street, then that's of concern as well. In general, there are so many historic districts in Springfield, so whenever we have a big, wonderful program like smart meters coming, we're all very happy about advancement of technology and that faster communication, but we do want to make sure that the integrity of the historic properties are maintained, and that homeowners of historic properties have a right to discuss where they're being placed, and also that they're going through the proper measures of going through the Springfield Historical Commission. So we just wanted to have those guidelines publicly available for review, and it might make sense, if possible, those letters going out to residents that say there's no action needing to be taken by you, homeowner, in the historic districts. That's a concerning thing to read, because the typical process that needs to happen in a historic district is that it needs to first go through the historical commission. And so the homeowners in those districts need to be properly educated and feel assured that if they're not home, that something is not going to happen on their property that they wouldn't agree with a placement in a highly visible place.
I have received that letter.
All right. So I just want to talk a little bit about the SMART program for Western Massachusetts and specifically Springfield. So we are going out and replacing the electric meters.
Hold on. Who's speaking?
Oh, this is Jason Valenti with Eversource, Smart Meter program.
Okay. All right, Jason. Go ahead, Jason. You can speak.
Okay. And so what we're doing is we are exchanging the meter, but it's just the meter. It's not the meter socket. So in terms of doing the exchange, that meter socket is not being replaced. It's not being moved. It's not going anywhere else. It's just the meter that sits in that meter socket. So the old meter is going to come out that looks something like this, and a new one's going to go in. The socket is going to stay there. The socket's not going to be moved.
Can I add, is that our meters are in the basement? So
Yes.
are these only meters that are inside as well as outside?
Yeah, we would exchange the meters that are in the basement as well. For those, part of the reason why we're sending out the letter is that we do need access, because obviously it's in the basement. We can't just get to it. So the homeowner needs to be home to let us in so we can exchange the meters, but the sockets aren't being moved outside as part of this initiative.
Now, I've heard as far as there's been some incidents where they were put in the front of the house. How does that occur?
So that would have been part of some sort of electrical upgrade, not just a meter change.
Yeah, Jason, this is Chris Kellogg. I can talk a little bit about that if you'd like. If there is an upgrade requested on a consumer's part where they're changing the service in any way, then the meter location is typically placed on the outside. But that's a discussion they would have with the field engineering and design department to talk about siting. The customer hires their electrician. Let's say they're upgrading from 100 amp to 200 amps, or there's a change in service. That's when that discussion takes place.
Councilor Brown, do you mind if I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Andrew Strinesty, Office of Planning and Economic Development. So I've been in contact with the gas side of Eversource, and they inform me that Eversource handles the meter relocation, whereas with the electric meters, it's really the electrician and the homeowner that deals with like the permitting side. If you could confirm that, and I think maybe if that is the case, the confusion I think lies with the electrician and the resident, knowing that they have to essentially plan for where the meter is going to be located and then get that permit through the building department.
Yes, I can, for the electric side, that is the way it's handled. The electrician files for the permit, and the customer contracts directly with the electrician. The gas side I can't speak to. I'm not on the gas for electric ops, is our side of the house.
Now, as far as I know, when talking with the preservation, is there a process where you guys can go through where they're notified, or you meet with them as far as before the placement? Is there something in place?
So you're
Erica,
asking?
I think
would
he's
that be?
talking to the Springfield Historical Commission. I think he's
Yeah,
asking
historic.
Andrew, perhaps.
Yeah.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Is there a process before they place any of these things where they have to come in before any of the committees, if it be historic, preservation, any of you guys, to get an okay, or are they just doing it?
Yeah, so I think from what I've observed, it seems that before, when a meter was switched out, my assumption was based that you could have had your meter stay in the basement. But this new program with the smart meters, and new policies by Eversource, the meters are being placed on the outside of the building. And I don't think the building department was at least the electrical, the people in the building department that deal with electrical permits, they weren't necessarily they weren't familiar with the historic guidelines and knowing that they had to flag those applications to send to me. So I have spoken to the building department. So going forward, what I expect is, should an electrician pull a permit, it will be flagged, and then it will come to me, and then it will go to the historic commission. In historic districts, any exterior changes, anything being affixed to the building, would need review by the historical commission. So I think the lapse there was that there was unfamiliarity with the historical guidelines when they were reviewing permits, which is why some of these electrical meters were probably given permits to be placed on the front of the building. So Erica brought up one on Piney Woods. That permit was issued in February before I knew that this program was in place. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
definitely. I know it was something when I spoke with Sean and Erica. So I'm glad to hear that you guys do. It was something that you guys did put into place, and it'll be handled from now on. So that was definitely a concern, making sure that they're not just going and just putting it up. Um, so I personally, I'm glad to hear it. I don't know. I know that was one of the biggest issues. I don't know if Counselor Govan, did you have anything?
I did. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess my question is, a lot of the constituents have been asking, are these smart meters mandatory that they be replaced, or is it an optional thing?
Yeah, so the meters, it is mandatory that they're replaced, but the customers are given an option to opt out of the technology. There is a fee associated with opting out. The customers we see that tend to be interested in opted out seem to have concerns about RF signal strength. And it's a very small number of the overall population that tends to want to opt out of smart metering.
What's the RF signal strength that you're talking about?
So it's kind of like you have a cell phone, you have other electronic devices, it emits a radio signal.
I see.
And there are
Okay.
some customers that don't like that and are sensitive to that.
And what are the benefits of the smart meters then?
So one of the greatest benefits the customer is going to see is a lot more data on their bill on the Eversource
Mm.
website. So they'll be able to go in there and they'll actually be able to kind of calculate daily usage, as well as the website will be a little bit smarter and kind of help them kind of trim back on their energy bills. It'll kind of give them an
Mm.
idea of what is in their house that might be using that energy. And then from an Eversource standpoint, we'll have a much better idea of when people are without power, and it's going to shorten storm restoration times. So in the event of a power outage, customers will get their power turned on faster.
Okay, because the bills are a very big concern to a lot of our constituents, especially that delivery fee, that they don't understand why sometimes it's double the supply fee. But I did have one other question regarding the historical piece of it. So I guess you guys can figure that out with the historic, because I know that, changing the especially the front, if you're gonna place something in the front that wasn't there before, that's going to be an issue. So, but I think that's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. I see Erica.
Yes, from the historical side, I wanted to ask if the homeowner fails to get the proper, go through the proper channels, or in the case where the building department accidentally doesn't flag that this is in a historic district and gives a permit, is there any fail-safe that can be put into place for Eversource at some point before the meter is placed? And this is going back to the root problem of changing meters from inside to outside when that upgrade is happening. And then the smart meter can sometimes be the secondary part of that. For example, I just upgraded my home from 100 to 200 amps. The smart meter was put in immediately. It wasn't, I didn't need to go through an old meter to get upgraded to it, but I got the mailer to say you're getting a smart meter. But it's very, what's happened on Piney Woods is because that homeowner did not go through the proper channels, they're now going to keep their horrendous, huge meter on the box on the side of their home, which is on a corner in a historic district where 2 streets can see it, and they don't have any foliage coverage or anything. And this is setting a precedent for other homeowners to say, well, I don't want to have to pay the extra $400 to have a 200 amp wire ran from the front of my house to the back of my house. So, that house on Piney Woods did it. Why do I have to do it? It's setting precedent in historic districts for everyone to break the rules. And it's basically happening where when they do something wrong right now, we just say, oh, well, that's too difficult for you to have to do that the right way, and we accidentally messed up, so we're going to let you do it. Is there anything we can do going forward for a fail-safe in the case that they actually achieve a building permit, install something in a place that's not appropriate for a historic district, and then the rest of the neighborhood has to now look at that for eternity? Is there something we can do to reverse that or to improve this situation? Can there be something like, well, if something, you have to put foliage in front of that, it just seems a little, it's unfortunate that we make mistakes, but is there anything that can be done at the Eversource side? Right now that meter isn't even in that box yet. Can Eversource pause the process and say, hey, we realize, I have a feeling the answer is no, but is there anything that can be done? Because I'm a homeowner in a historic district, and we represent a lot of homeowners in historic districts who are very upset about the fact that this is happening. They bought in a historic district so that this kind of thing wouldn't happen.
But thank you, Erica. Eversource. Any representative from Eversource want to take it?
I can probably start. I think in one-off cases like this, I mean, we'd need to kind of understand the specifics here. I don't have the information really in front of me to speak to, the Piney Woods example. But I think overall, as far as like a fail safe is what you're talking about. I mean, to be honest, I think that just might be a bit of a outside of our purview. Right? Like we have a set of processes that we go through. We map them against local ordinances, local laws. We want to follow the rules. It would be, we might be kind of overreaching our kind of authority if we were to start second guessing Springfield's, valid permits. I just think that is probably not our place to be. And to rectify them after the fact might be a better question for some representatives with the city. Because obviously we just follow the guidelines, we follow the rules. I understand that there was a miscommunication and something got messed up in a particular instance, but I would defer to the city for the rectification of that, rather than Eversource take on, additional authority that we do not have.
Okay, is that anything else, Erica?
No, maybe Andrew, he has his hand up. He might have a solution on this.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, so I'd probably have to defer to the legal department regarding like retroactive, resolutions. But in regards, I guess I have a question for Eversource. Is there any when you're doing the switching over these smart meters, or is there any interaction between Eversource and the electrician where you could potentially give them a heads up, or to consult our office or the city's website to determine if they're in a historic district? I think the gap that I have is, I'm not directly speaking with the homeowner or the electrician when they're going through the project. And, we do rely on the building department to flag these applications, and they do a very good job. It's just, potentially there's an opportunity, I think, if Eversource is talking directly to the electrician to, uh, you know, have a reminder to check if they're in a historic district or something along those lines.
Okay, good answer. Good question. Eversource, John?
Yeah, and I might just again I don't want to seem negative here, but we 100% can remind some of our engineers that are in the department that are working with the customers, just to kind of maybe ask the question. But quite frankly, we just deal with such a wide swath, right? We're across 3 states. We have a lot of infrastructure here in Massachusetts, so like it's a big operation. So I can't promise that we can implement any of those, like as a rule to ask. Like we can suggest, like, hey, by the way, just make sure that you guys are asking this question. But I think I would go back to my initial kind of response, which is I think your building inspectors are probably best set up to have the expertise to step in at that juncture, to not issue the permit, right? Because they know it the best. They understand all of the rules and regulations of what can and cannot be done. So we would defer to the expertise of the city in that case. But I see, Tim, you have your hand up, but I'll
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think one of the issues, Andrew, that we might want to do is have the Historic Commission take action to basically indicate, and obviously we're going to have to make notification in the historic districts, informing those that live in them, of the restriction that they need to come to the Historic Commission in order to install a meter, on their house or building. And what we might want to do, and we'll check with the law department on it. I think if the issue or the consequence for not informing the Historic Commission would ultimately be that the Historic Commission could actually implement a reversion of the work that was done, and then the homeowner would be responsible for that reversion.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
thank you, Tim. Sean?
Yeah. So, Tim, I echo. I love what you said. I think that is a better solution, and it kind of answers to what we're looking to get done. And then that even would answer even the whole Piney Point issue, because at the end of the day, when the electrician shows up, and you say what was presented, hey, that meter should be at the back of the house, they're like, well, we're going to put it on the front. They can make that type of statement. But if you have the plans and they present the plans to the historical commission showing that it's at the back of the house and stuff, then we are removing that this little nuance that we have going on. And they can do it because I have it done on the back of my house where it's at the very back, and they just have to run the cable, the power line, all the way to the back and stuff. And then they have the meter on and stuff on the back side of the house. So, my house is what, 75 feet long. So that's on them. So
Thank you, Sean. So how can we put this to make it a regular procedures? Is that something we can do, John, just to put it into place when it comes to us, that we make it like that, you guys, or it's something we can do, right?
Yeah, I would defer to the city on this one. Right, we can have our people ask the question, but like I said, I can't implement that procedure across, our entire service territory, and to create bespoke procedures for the individual historic, districts across an entire state or three states.
Yep.
Counselor, I think the
Yep.
issue is really resting with the Historic Commission giving notice of the issue and basically, encouraging compliance, but also, using the stick to basically say, if you don't comply, then, the Historic Commission has the ability to tell the homeowner that work needs to be rectified and it be done appropriately.
Okay, so
That
Tim,
would come at the homeowner's cost.
so Tim, I think it's probably with you on this too. You can probably answer this for us. So from going forward from now on, it sounds like we pretty much had an answer. How would we go? How would we make sure this happens going forward from now on?
Well, I think
Is it
Andrew
up
can
to
answer.
is it up to the city or up to historic? How should we do it so we can figure it out?
Well, the Historic Commission is an agent of the city of Springfield. So at the end of the day, I think, it rests with the city via the Historic Commission to ultimately inform and then also balance out inform and encourage compliance. And then if a homeowner doesn't comply, then they would have to basically enforce the reversion of the system or the installation to a place that is allowable under the historic district regs.
Okay.
And to add, if you don't mind, real quick, the other part is so by it being flagged that it's in a historic district, when they go to get the permit is the other part. Like, and I hear what John's saying, but I work for the Air Force, and for you to just say that, well, your area is too big, that's kind of wild to me. That's part of what you guys sign up for. And it is easy for you guys to just put a checklist and say, hey, is this home located in a historic district, and to have the guy ask the question and stuff. So you could just, it could be as that simple, just to encourage the conversation. Not saying that they have to facilitate it, but just to say, ask the question. And then that's all we're asking you to do. And I appreciate you being on the call, but like, I think that's a simple, and then as long as you put that out to the electrician, hey, did you check to see if this is that? Not that you're forcing them to do anything, but by prompting them to do it. That way it can always be said, well, Eversource did ask you, did you do it and stuff. You didn't force them to do it, because that's on them.
Yeah, so John, is there maybe something you can look at in the future as far as when you're putting out the work orders and you're subbing out some of these contractors, and the actual work order is very easy in certain areas, especially Springfield. Once you know Springfield, there's only certain areas that are historic. So it's not, they're not spread all over the place, just saying, hey, you're going to 782 Main Street historic, and it has like historic on it. Is there a way you can flag them? Maybe you talk to the company, see if there's something you guys can do.
Yeah, I can certainly
But
bring that back. Yeah, I can certainly bring that
okay.
back to see what we can do and what's possible. But again, I got to agree with Tim on this, and that I think if you want to make sure, right, like we would, that would probably be a good second or third fail safe. But if you want to kind of make sure it's a comprehensive and make sure that that there are no mistakes and that there isn't uh an incorrect meter put up somewhere, you don't want to rely on Eversource to be that authority. I think bringing it more
Yeah.
local and leveraging the expertise of the Historic Commission in the city of Springfield would be the lever that you would want to pull if you want to make sure
Okay.
that this happens. But I can definitely bring it back and give you an answer on sort of what our checklists are, what our script is, and if
Yeah.
there is a chance to put something in there.
No,
Okay, thank you, John.
sorry, and just not to interrupt. No, and then what I'm saying to you, John, is that, and I appreciate you being here on the call. I'm just saying that, not just looking at Springfield, but I just think as a company practice, like just to show that you are for the community, to say, hey, listen, are you in a historic district? Do you guys have, just to ask them, not that you have to do anything, but you're just asking, and that's all we're saying. If you guys just put that in there just because of, hey, we experienced this while we're in Springfield, and it would be on the city to enforce it, so that's what I'm saying.
All right, thank you,
I hear
Sean.
you.
I see Betsy.
I know this is about electric, so this is both a request to Mallow and the city. I hope we could maybe have the same a meeting, where we also invite the folks from the gas folks, because we've got, it's a little bit different, it sounds like, because the gas company is who actually, Eversource is who actually does the work. And so in that case, we've got to have that part of it, that Eversource company actually know that they're the ones who do have to make the requests to the Historic Commission. So it'd be good to know if they actually know that. I mean, we did have a situation on Mattoon Street where they were upgrading the service, and the placement of the meter it's not on the front of the building, it's on the side of the building. And it did come to the Historic Commission, and it was, worked out. But as I said, this is just a preview of the a similar but even different. I mean, I'm glad to now know this difference between one going to the electrician and one being held by the company itself. But so I'm hoping maybe you can potentially have an additional meeting like this where we invite the gas people too, because throughout the city, they're also looking to they'd love to get their gas meters out of our basements. And
Okay.
so they're proposing all over the place to potentially move them out of our basements. So thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Betsy. I see Councilor Govan. Did you have?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess my question regarding the placements and it being in a historic area, I really want us to figure this out before we go any further as far as um making our residents pay additional to replace the meter that was installed improperly in a historic area. So I think that a partnership between our city and Eversource certainly would help to make sure that, you know, we don't have placed them incorrectly. And then it sounds like the homeowner would be responsible for correcting the mistake that was done. And if we're having this conversation now, you know, I really don't want to, you know, hear a year from now that a homeowner is having to pay, I don't know how much it's going to cost to, you know, have the meter moved. So this is preemptive. I'm really glad that we're having this conversation now, but I really want us to make sure that, you know, we don't move forward and make those mistakes. I really like what the Eversource rep said about, you know, not making the mistake. Let's not do that. I really like that. So we could prevent additional costs for our homeowners. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. I see Erica and then Andrew. You're muted, Erica.
Whoops, yes. Thank you, Councilor Brown. I was going to suggest that perhaps if the Historical Commission is open to this, and I know Andrew has been super on top of these guides, perhaps creating a utility meter placement guide for the commission would be a good next step, because there's handrail placement. Well, the outdoor mechanical equipment is probably the one, but maybe updating it to give to have photos of proper placement and questions to ask your electrician or the gas company when they come out to do a replacement. And secondly, are there, you know, the licensing board for electricians, is there a way to somehow get information to them to say, when you're you know, there's some sort of education to electricians, because it's very hard with these electricians are usually independent operators, so you can't, it's going to be hard to contact every electrician, but how can we get that guide to electricians, maybe the licensing board or some other entity where there'll be where lots of electricians gather to say, this is, if you know, if you're placing a meter, you should, one of the questions you should ask is this house in a historic district? Here's where you go and find that information. And here's a guide that the Historical Commission has created. And we're not the only city or town in the region that has historic districts. So it should be general education for an electrician or a plumber who's, you know, placing an electric or gas meter to know. But maybe Andrew, on that, maybe the guide could potentially be updated to be a little more helpful for homeowners to do that liaising with their electrician to know, what should I tell my electrician or plumber to do if they're, you know, working on this kind of project.
Thank you, Erica. Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm going to respond to things, and then I wanted to follow up with a couple questions to Eversource. So the gas division has been in touch with me. They're doing a meter upgrade project in McKnight, so they are fully aware that they should be coming to me for going to the historic district. My understanding with speaking with them is they handle all the permitting and installation because of safety concerns regarding the installation of gas meters. So that's why Eversource handles it. Regarding the mechanical equipment guidelines, I think it'd be a good idea if we probably elaborate a little bit more to give more guidance to residents and electricians. So we can work on that. I think outreach by the Historic Commission to the residents would be a fantastic idea. I'll work with my colleagues to figure out how best to go about that. And then I was just going to follow up with Eversource with these two questions. When there is a upgrade to a meter, I guess, you know, is there an application or something that a resident fills out? Because I think if there's some sort of form or application, that would be a good time to ask if they are in a historic district, which prompts them to do the research. And then just some observations during some of these meetings, historical commission meetings. Residents are coming to us telling them that Eversource told them that they had to install an electric meter in this specific location, usually in the front. So I wanted to get clarification if that's something being communicated to residents, or if there's some sort of miscommunication, or maybe it's the electrician telling them that it needs to be installed. If you could verify that Eversource isn't conveying that information, that would be helpful for me when these issues do come up, especially relating to like solar powered projects that we've been getting a lot of recently.
John?
Yeah, I might be able to. Chris, you want to touch on that at all as far as kind of the process for, I guess the first question was, is there an application? And the second question would be, if we are, is there a reason that that Eversource, not the electrician, might make a demand to put a socket in the front of the house, or is that more likely on the electrician side?
Certainly, I can discuss that. There is a work request that gets filed by the electrician. It's not by the homeowner. I think that was the first question. And then as far as citing the actual meter socket or enclosure, that's a discussion that takes place with the electrician. Our information and requirements book states outside front, but we've dealt with the Historic Commission in the past, and most of those are cited to the side and towards the back as permissible or possible. But that does sometimes require additional work on the electrician's part. The field engineer and engineering and design department would look at placement, look where the infrastructure comes in, and make the best determination of where it could be sited. So to answer your question, although the book says outside front, we're familiar with the historic requirements, and pedestals are also an option as well if it's not to be affixed to the structure.
Okay, did that answer your question?
Yeah, so just to follow up, if there is the work request with the electrician, I don't know if it's possible to add a question on that form that asks, are they in a historic district, and prompting the electrician to do that research. Yeah, that would be helpful. And I know that, with the residents, we'll do the outreach, but it's kind of a belt and suspenders idea, I guess.
Yeah, we can track that down to see what questions are on that form, and similarly, I guess this is like where the question would be asked, what we were talking about before. So yeah, I'll take that back and see what we can add.
Okay, I see Tim, you had a statement, Tim?
Yeah, well, now it's coming to light that Eversource's booklet is actually recommending placement, and it would seem like that would be the place that you would make the modification of, except in historic districts.
Okay.
I mean, if you make the recommendation to the electrician that you want it in the front of the house, they're taking your recommendation, and that's what it says in your book. I would think you would basically make that correction to say, again, except in historic districts.
Yeah.
That's really
John,
good,
is that
Tim.
something,
Thank you.
is that something you guys can do, John?
So yeah, let me bring that back. I think that it's a valid suggestion. Let me bring that back. But I guess I would again kind of just take this full circle. We 100% can add that, but again, that's probably a second or tertiary layer just to make sure it doesn't happen. But I think like if you want to make sure it doesn't happen, I think the point of control would be at the permit level.
Completely agree.
Local.
But the direction coming from Eversource in historic districts basically shouldn't be recommending what what shouldn't be approved.
Yep, I hear you. Let me take that back and see what we can what language we can add.
Yeah, appreciate it, John. Do we have anyone else? Okay. Well, John, I appreciate you guys. And I thank you, Erica. Thank you, Sean, Betsy. I see, and the counselor, Govan. Thank you, everyone who come. Tim. This has been a really good constructive meeting. We definitely got things accomplished as far as practices and how we should go forward. I definitely would suggest everyone, as far as the historic and preservation, to take the actual contact for the Eversource. I know they're new individuals now, so I know before, when I've ever had an issue, the individuals who I dealt with before, they were very responsive. So I know the young lady, she put her number in
Leslie.
Yes, I did. Yes,
yeah.
Leslie. So
Okay.
yes, please call me or email or even text me anytime, and I will do my best to answer any question that you have.
Thank you, Leslie. So, and I can assure you they are very responsive when it comes to it. So just a lot of times it's a disconnect, and what'll happen is they'll have different agencies that'll have people who will fill in that disconnect. So I would just always recommend you guys to make sure you get in touch with Leslie. That's what she's there for.
Yes, indeed. That's what I'm here for, and I'm more than happy to, again, answer any question you may have. And if I don't have the answer, I'll find the answer.
Okay.
And
So,
Mallow, you'll work on getting the folks from the other Eversource doing this same thing all over again.
Yeah, well, it's the same. John and all of them, they the same.
No, right?
Yes, they are.
Well, no,
John's a
right? A
big
whole
boy.
different
He's a big
company, right?
no.
We can I can check in with the gas side of the house and see if there's anything substantively that would kind of intersect with this, and shoot it over to you, Counselor Brown. But yeah, I can
See?
package all that up with
Well,
the answer I get.
or at least who with the gas side should be meeting with us like this.
And if there are issues that you're having currently right now,
Same thing,
whether
same issue.
it's, yeah, if you could send us like the specific, it'd be helpful for us just to track it down. Like if you say 100 Main Street, or I'm making something up here, if you could send that to us, that'd be helpful for us just to understand.
They're proposing to put half of Mattoon Street on the front of the building as part of their gas line upgrade.
I believe we're going to be
So is
working
that
with
something?
Andrew on that one, though. I imagine he might have something to say about that. But we're happy to work through it.
Okay. Well,
So yeah, you can.
I'd rather wait. I'd rather have a situation, being able to have a conversation like this before we're doing specific houses and preventing.
You love my
specific-
you
I'm
love
trying to
my
prevent.
subcommittee meetings.
Yeah. Well, I'm
You
trying
love
to
my
prevent
meetings, that's why.
specific houses having to have situations like this, electric meter situation.
Betsy, it's going to be the same policy, and the gas folks are already dealing with Andrew.
Okay.
So they know that they're going to have to go through the approval process as to the location of the meter for gas.
Okay.
So moving
Believe it when
forward.
it happens. Sorry, I'm not trusting enough.
All right.
Well, with that in mind,
Thank you,
I'm gonna
though, for having
end
this.
this. I definitely appreciate everyone attending. If anyone has any questions or concerns, you can always give me a call also at 413-316-4743. And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining, and everyone have a good day.